Tonight, 26 inmates at Sing Sing Maximum Security State Prison are now college graduates. Our Dominic Carter attended a graduation ceremony unlike any other alongside actress and talk show host Whoopi Goldberg and actor Harry Belafonte. They tell him why they say the Hudson Link program is worth the investment and call it a backdoor deal. Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio teaming up to take on the Working Families Party. Did this make members of the GOP hot under the collar? Tonight, we'll find out. Plus, we will head down south to Mississippi, where the Tea Party is taking some tough jabs at the Grand Ole Party. This week's primary election shows the grassroots conservative movement is still resonating with voters. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you so much for joining us. And tonight, we begin in all places, Ossining, New York, where 26 inmates are now college grads. It is an achievement many of them couldn't have been in their wildest imaginations when they walked into the bars of that infamous prison. However, they thought big, worked hard, stayed out of trouble, and reached their academic goal, all thanks to a program called Hudson Link. And Dominic Carter, political journalist and author, he attended last night's graduation ceremony, and he joins us now with a really fascinating perspective. And it's one of those you kind of have to see to believe, right?
It sure is, Richard. This is indeed a remarkable program sponsored by the group Richard just mentioned, Hudson Link. Now, this group does an enormous amount of work to raise private dollars for a college education for prison inmates. There were plenty of tears at the graduation last night, tears of joy. It's not your traditional graduation, but behind the walls of this maximum security prison, these graduates have earned their college degree, part of the 2014 class of Mercy College. William Brown was the class valedictorian and says he almost declined his moment to shine because he was worried he would be at a loss of words.
Mom, Dad, the words that I convey to you this evening may never describe how grateful I am for your presence in my life. You have put your retirement and your life on hold to be here to support, continue to provide for me. For that I am extremely thankful.
But this day is also about tremendous pride and perseverance for the families. After years of turmoil, seeing their loved ones behind bars, not many parents get the opportunity to see their child as the valedictorian.
But he dealt with life and he deals with everything he has to do in here, and I'm extremely proud of him.
I feel very proud of him for the way he's dealt with everything in his life, and especially being in here.
Under the circumstances, for an ordinary person to get their bachelor's is no easy feat. I did it myself. But for my nephew, under these circumstances, he's made my whole family proud.
And other families express the same emotion.
When he comes home, he'll have something valuable, a tangible a degree that he can apply and make the world better.
Has this for you been a long time coming to be able to have these great feelings as a mom?
Yes, and I'm very proud today of him and all the graduates.
Because unless you know the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
That's right.
You know, it will happen. So now here you all are, and you're being encouraged to go out into your communities, but you know what you're walking into. Because you have to think back to who you were. Because who you were when you came here is not who you are when you're leaving. And that's really the journey.
The night included the graduation speech from Whoopi Goldberg. She was quite candid, speaking from the heart with no notes. Goldberg mentioned she did not attend college herself, and she talked about having a learning disability, being dyslexic, and that the men would one day be returning to their communities, this time as role models to help others. Hudson Link is the highly successful program that runs this initiative, and it's privately funded. Very few of their graduates have ever returned to prison, saving taxpayers millions.
There aren't many programs that I know of that you can spend $1 on here and get a $12 return there. It makes perfect sense.
There's a big difference between incarceration and rehabilitation. And I think the men here tonight who are graduating are the ultimate example of what rehabilitation can mean when we as a society look at them as men, not as prisoners.
It's also a special day for some very special and proud educators, even the college president that is brand new.
This is my first graduation ceremony at Sing Sing. I've just been in New York for 3 weeks, just relocated here from Tennessee, and I am just spectacularly happy to be here.
Professor, you've been doing this for 7 years. Are you worried about your safety?
That's a really good question. It's a question a lot of people ask me. These are maximum security prisoners. They have reasons that they're here, and I'm always aware of that. I know there's a reason that they're behind bars, but no, I have never once felt threatened or worried. These men are so respectful, so appreciative, so honorable. They would protect me with their lives if they needed to, and I always sense that. So I've never been worried. I've never been scared. They look like any other students you would find in an evening program. They dress like anyone else. They don't wear uniforms. They wear dark green pants and the same kind of polo shirts and sweatshirts that you would wear after work sometime. And so I've never felt worried about my safety.
Why do you do what you do, Professor?
I do it because I want to change lives, and I know that education changes lives. I appreciate that this is not a penal institution, it's a correctional facility, and I feel that I am in many ways correcting what went wrong and helping them become different people so that when they go on the outside, they are ready to serve the community and be a part of it.
A lot of people say, well, you know, I don't want to spend tax money on this. As it stands right now, this is privately funded, and I'm telling you, it is cheaper for us to educate people. It's so extraordinary to see and talk to somebody who says you would not have wanted to know me when I first got here. Well, that's why they should be educated in how to do better, because once these guys get out, they're going to go back to their areas, and the kids are going to look and say, well, wait a minute. I thought you were the baddest dude. They said, no, now I'm the baddest dude because I can get everything I want, because knowledge is power.
And Richard, knowledge is power. That was Whoopi Goldberg from just a few hours earlier today. That's how she opened The View, the national TV show today.
And we're going to be hearing from both Whoopi Goldberg, Harry Belafonte, also a longtime affiliate of this program, talking about it. We'll get into policy stuff in the next segment, Dominic. But I always found it interesting, and I've been to 3 or 4 of these graduations over the years, and we're hands down some of the most compelling things. First of all, you're walking into a maximum security place, right? You're going through everything, and you realize when that door closes behind you, right?
It's closed.
This ain't a college Ivy League campus, okay? But I always found the most fascinating thing wasn't the people on the stage, but looking at the families and the amount, and I know some of them spoke openly to you, they were ashamed that their kids had their last name. You don't go to Sing Sing unless you did something really bad, okay? This isn't a country club.
That's the premise, number one.
So, but for the first times, some of them were like, when you asked them the name and stuff, they proudly tell you at the end who they were. They point to their son. They're like, that's my kid, and everything else. This is the first time a lot of them have been proud. A lot of times the children, the first time that they've been inside those walls, because it's hard for the father that's sitting there, and it's hard for the kids to go see him. So there's even a cost factor for kids from the city coming up there. All the things you saw, it's the first time for the families that they have had a reason here to hold their chin up.
Let me tell you, Richard, I've been now to 2 of the graduations, and each time I have found myself in the back literally crying, trying not to let others see that I'm crying. And I'm not approaching this as a bleeding heart liberal, because in the beginning, as you know, I wasn't sure if this program was worth it. Even though it's not funded with taxpayer dollars, it saves taxpayers a lot of money. $60,000 a year to keep these guys locked up, each and every one of them. And when you look at the families, Richard, that's the story. Because the years of turmoil, the years of embarrassment in their communities, of knowing that while you didn't commit the crime, somehow you feel as a parent that you failed because your child is in prison, as you said, not in some country club, in a hardened prison for hardcore inmates. and you're forced to go see this individual, you're forced to put off your retirement, as one of the families said, you're forced to endure this embarrassment, and now after all of these years of pain, of humiliation, there's finally something good. They're graduating from college.
Yep.
And so it's remarkable.
And a lot of times they're the first ones in their family to have gone to college, albeit behind bars. And I am always struck, some of the kids who come there, one of them once said, I never thought I would ever be able to go to college, but if my father can, in a place like this, maybe I can too. And you go to a lot of the communities, a lot of the projects, and you speak to a lot of these kids. You'll bring them up to Rockland County, and you'll show them a life that they haven't maybe have seen from where they're from. A lot of the guys here come from these kind of communities too, and they're going back, right? So that was one of the things that, it's not just happy talk. They really do, when they go back, they tell them, listen, I didn't come from a place, where you want to have on your rap sheet or whatever. It's a different kind of message that maybe you get otherwise.
Richard, we talk a lot about the kids that walk around with their jeans on their backside, and while that may be a fad and so on, but many of the kids that walk around like that are kids in these communities that are really at the crossroad and can go one way or they can go the other way. If they pick the wrong path, it's a tremendous financial drain on taxpayers and on their lives. And believe me, there are going to be very few people that can touch these kids. These graduates, when they leave prison, and many of them still have 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years to do prison time before they go home. But unfortunately, in many communities around America and communities of color, as a matter of fact, it's considered a badge of honor, unfortunately, to have gone to prison as opposed to have gone to college. But these are guys, and this is what Whoopi Goldberg was talking about, when they go back home, they are the role models, whether we like it or not. They are the role models, and they can connect with the kids.
More than 95% even of inmates at maximum security facilities will get out. So the question is, what do we want them coming out as? Now, we're going to talk about that after the break. Dominic spoke to both legendary actor Harry Belafonte and Whoopi Goldberg, who you already heard from. They spoke to him directly at the event here, and Dom put some of the same tough questions lawmakers in Albany did this year. We'll hear their answers. Stay with us.